My name is Linda Moulton Howe. I am reporter and editor of earthfiles.com, a science and environment and Real X Files news website. I report monthly science, environment, medical news, and Real X Files for Coast to Coast AM on Premier Radio Networks. I have been a professional investigative journalist and TV producer since I graduated from Stanford University in 1968 with a master's degree in communication. I have worked in television, in radio, the web, written books, and the focus of all of my work related to the Real X Files area has been my exposure to animal mutilations as a global phenomena, and having law enforcement, sheriffs and deputies tell me back in 1979, off the record then, that the perpetrators were creatures from outer space. And as stunning as that was to me in 1979, I know that the investigative report that I did called A Strange Harvest about the global animal mutilation phenomena was known to so many people because after my broadcast, a special 90 minutes on the CBS station in Denver, Colorado, where I was director of special projects, I began receiving mail. There was no computer. There were no emails then. It was hard letters and hard phone calls. I began receiving so much mail from around the world that the TV station had to bring it to me in bags, and the telephone calls overwhelmed the switchboard. That is only an indication that in 1979, when I first did the investigation on the animal mutilations, there was this entire global knowledge of people who were ranchers, law enforcement, police, and pilots who knew that what I reported in A Strange Harvest was the truth. They knew it in the areas that they lived. And I realized then that I had just scratched the surface of a huge iceberg, that the planet is aware, even if it's in local towns and local ranches and the pilots that fly airplanes, that we are dealing with a phenomena that is non-human, and that our government's own documents describe it as extraterrestrial biological entities, and they use in their own documents the acronym EBA, extraterrestrial biological entities. Those are facts.
So one thing I heard you testify to was that in some of the reports about things that were recovered in the crashes, they were finding non-biological entities. They were almost androids or robots that...
In my work, I think one of the most interesting revelations that came to me was, for the first time actually, only about the early 1990s, I began to hear through leaks that in some of the early autopsies, they weren't even cutting into what we would consider to be tissue. It was some sort of a fabric that was either covering tissue, but it was a fabric, and it was very difficult for the scalpels to go through. That led eventually in the early 2000s of the 21st century that I finally was able to do an interview with someone with firsthand knowledge about one of the autopsies at Wright-Patterson, who said he was in the room when they started the cut into the non-human body, one that was retrieved from the Roswell area in 1947, and that the statement was made in the room. This is not tissue as we know it, and that firsthand testimony opened up what I have come now to understand, that a big part of this phenomena are what we would call drones today, either non-piloted craft that are under the control of a prime intelligence, or craft that are containing extraterrestrial biological entities that are not strictly biological, may be in the category of androids under the control of a prime intelligence. And the irony is that we humans have been waking up to other life in the universe through cloned biological entities made by something else.